told the House of Commons that the payment of $13,000 to Mike Duffy's lawyers were for, quote, valid legal fees. Can the government explain the details of this payment so we know how the Prime Minister is able to claim in the House that they were valid? And if they can't, will they explain why the Prime Minister is making unsupported statements about a potential crime in the House of Commons?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, as I've said a number of occasions in the House, our party, like all parties in this House, does offer assistance to its members who are in good standing if they require some legal assistance, Mr. Speaker. I know that the Leader of the Opposition, of course, accepted the same type of assistance from his party, with one exception. Of course, he had the judgment paid for, Mr. Speaker. Right. Thousands of dollars in legal fees and a judgment, Mr. Speaker. That, of course, isn't something that we do on this side of the House, but like every other party, if a member in good standing requires assistance, we're there to help, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Timmins, James Bay.
Well, that's why the RCMP is investigating him, I suppose. So let's try another simple one for him. February 13th, the Prime Minister stood in this House and said he personally reviewed Pamela Wallin's expenses and said they were, quote, comparable to any other parliamentarian. Later that same day, the Prime Minister's office was warned by one of Pamela Wallin's former staffers not to be seen defending her expenses because they were, quote, really problematic. Now, given the Prime Minister's recent attacks on Ms. Wallin, can they explain why it took the Prime Minister over 3 months to distance himself from her spending?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Just to advise this member, of course, Mr. Speaker, there was an audit that was completed in the Senate which outlined some of the very troubling expenses that Senator Wallin, Senator Duffy and Senator Brazeau undertook. We've been very clear that inappropriate expenses need to be repaid, Mr. Speaker. At the same time, Canadians have been very clear. They wanted accountability. That's why a motion was passed in the Senate stripping these 3 senators of their pay. Of course, we are the only party in this House that seems to want to stand up for Canadian taxpayers, and I'm glad that the Senate took this motion, and the Conservatives, at least in the Senate, took this very seriously and stripped these 3 senators of their pay.
Senator